Okay, I'm going to be real with you. I have no idea how other creatives are managing their content. This isn't a skill I learned in art school, but rather a practice born of necessity that I just picked up along the way. Welcome to Skinnin Cats with Mousey. This is how to organize your content. First, we'll talk theory, then we'll discuss some tools, and finally, I'll show you how I set mine up. So what we need to do now is try and deconstruct our content and extract its key elements. If you watched my first episode, hopefully you already have a few topics in mind and content ideas for each one. If not, maybe go check it out real quick. Either way, now it's time to take it a bit further. We need to deconstruct our content to extract its key elements. I'm working on a video tutorial series. So what goes into a video tutorial series? If you watch my first episode, you know that we've got the names, the topic, the format, and the channel already. But let's take it a bit further. How about a content ID for starters? Instead of just relying on names of each content piece, which can be kind of difficult to manage and track, it'll be easier if we use like a number-based system, or maybe even down the road a little word and number-based system based off of the topic or the content piece. But we don't need to make it so dynamic just yet, so let's just start with a content ID of like a 3-digit number. So if we were going to look back at our first piece of content, which is how to make a how-to, then we know that the title is how to make a how-to. We know that the topic is kind of designy is what I'm using right now, because I'm not doing how to as a topic just yet. So I'm including it in design for now. We know that the format is a video clearly, and the channel is whatever you're watching it on. But the content ID for how to make a how-to, I did 001 because it was the first one. And then this one, which is called how to organize your content, would have a content ID of 002, and so on and so forth. Because this is a how-to series, we also need like a premise, basically. Like, what is the thing we're trying to solve? What is the how-to? And then how about also a solution rundown, like maybe a 3-step solution rundown? How about the full step-by-step? And then a video, if it's a video, the actual content piece, like an infographic, if it's an infographic. And how about like a hook, you know, a little teaser to really pique people's interest and like make them want to go further into it. So altogether, we have title, topic, channel, format, premise, hook, solution rundown, step by step, and then the actual content piece itself. I think that seems like a pretty good place for us to start. Now, why this matters. If we're smart about this, the bulk of our work in producing a piece of content can be accomplished by a simple plug and play. Essentially, what we're trying to do here is create a templatized form to populate all the data and then a place to store it. When I first started working on Skinnin Cats with Mousey, my intention was to use Airtable. I've been using Airtable to manage all of my projects at Mousey Design for a few years now. I found it so handy being able to catalog and manage all of my work in a single place. Plus, if I'm being honest with you, I'm kind of a slut for numbers. The designer in me gets off on well-structured and organized data. But despite the power of Airtable, I've always felt a little bit of friction when it comes to its user experience, especially in the ways that I feel like it tries to nickel and dime you for like real simple things. Like, for example, if you want to have different colored tags, they want to charge you extra. Or if you want to have different views, like I think the Kanban for one, which I don't even know what that is off the top of my head, but I don't like that they charge you for viewing your data in a different way. Still though, pigeonholed and shoehorned, I've acquiesced to using Airtable, the devil I know, for years. What I like about Notion, on the other hand, is that it treats each record as its own page in a database. And beyond that, it allows you to organize and nest your content in really interesting ways. More so, it blends the concepts of notes, tasks, and wikis and databases into a single modular all-in-one powerhouse. There's a learning curve inherent to any new tool, but whereas with Airtable, I felt blocked by some of its limitations and adjusted my workflow to fit them. So far, Notion's modularity has felt limitless. Why don't we go ahead and start the way that I started with Airtable? Let's go ahead and open that up first. So now we've got Airtable open. This is what like a new table kind of looks like with the default fields. Got name, notes, assignee, and status. But I'm gonna go ahead and hide those ones because we didn't like really talk about those ones. So I just want to like go over the ones that we went over. So first of all, we got the name, and then let's do a topic. And the way that we're gonna set up the topic is by a single select field. And a single select field, it allows you to like basically set up reusable options. Like if you're only gonna be choosing one of a select few things, and since our topics are just one of a select few things, it makes sense to go ahead and use that here. So I'm gonna call this topic. I'm gonna add a few options like design, music, outdoors, and lifestyle. Boom. And then next we're gonna do channel. That one can actually be a multiple select because like sometimes we may use the same piece of content on different like channels, right? So let's start with YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, personal blog, Mousey, that design. Again, these are ones that we went over in episode 1. Let's do channels. And then format. Let's just do I guess technically it's a multiple select. Longer video, shorter video, infographic, blog. Did we have any other ones? Let's just do that for now. That's fine. Cool. So now we've got the 4 basic things that we talked about in episode 1 kind of set up. Now we're going to set up the content ID, which we're going to do a single line of text because I don't know how to set up the 00 in front of the number in Airtable. Okay. So if we were gonna do our first episode, that was how to make a how-to. Topic we said was design. Channel we said whatever you're watching it on. I'm just gonna say YouTube right now. Format, longer video. Content ID 001. And then this one, how to organize your content. Oops, let's just go to design. We're gonna say the same thing, 002. Cool. And then we'll do a single line text for the premise. For the solution rundown, we'll go ahead and maybe also do let's do a long text because just cause. I might want to enable rich formatting later and in order to do to set up numbers. Step by step, we'll do the same thing. We're going to do an attachment for the actual content piece. And then we'll do one more single line text basically for the hook, the little teaser thing. Cool. Then if I was going to show you how I actually like had it set up originally in Airtable, this is what it kind of looked like. You could see that they're right now organized by the topic. I've got them grouped by the topic. This is actually kind of a sneak peek on some pieces of content that are coming down the line. This is how the sausage is made, y'all. Supporting subheads is another thing that I think could be helpful to add. It allows you to start kind of structuring your content and understanding how to fill it in and make it better. But yeah, here's how it looks. You could see the colors, the colored tags. It looks like I get extra colors, but I don't actually, because check this out. If I want to change the color, oh, you want more colors? Click to upgrade. Come on. What is that all about? It's ridiculous, right? To choose your own color. And then earlier I said the Kanban costs extra. I was wrong about that. It's actually these other views like the timeline and the Gantt view costs extra, which again is crazy to me. Nickels and dimes, turtles all the way down. Mousey out. Mousey back in. Now let's take a look at my Notion setup. For those of you that have been using Notion for a while, this is going to look really basic. I'm still kind of just learning myself and figuring it out myself, especially after having been on Airtable for so long. I know it's going to take time for me to set this up right. Either way, let's take a look. So having seen the way that my Airtable is laid out, I figured I might as well show you the way that I kind of laid my Notion out pretty similarly. This is a table view. So this is kind of like that spreadsheet-esque matrix thing that we set up in episode 1 or in the last part. So you could see it's got the name, it's got the channel, it's got a column for the hook, but I bet we should probably put topic over there first because like that was, check that out. Got our names, and you can see that these are already grouped by the topic as well, which is kind of nice. But we've got our names, we got the topic, got channels, got hooks, got some tags kind of going, got some premises, some solution rundown, step by steps, supporting subheads, tools, and then content IDs and some statuses. If I click on one of them, I'll show you what I meant earlier when I said that they each kind of create their own page. So you could see that it has its own little popped out page. I think I probably can pop it out more and make it its own full page. See, check that out. What's cool is that it has the individual fields that we had talked about, in step 1, the key info. So I've got these individual fields that are going to be kind of repeating elements that will ultimately be the plug and play. And then also below, I can add any sort of it's a rich text element. So I can add any sort of like numbers or numbered points, bullet points. I can add any kind of media that I can want. I can add code if I want. I can probably even add like songs, embed songs and stuff if I want. One of the biggest advantages to me with Notion over Airtable was its integration of some like large language models, and these LLM integrations really allow you to solve the blank slate issue, that is really one of the biggest impediments in any sort of creative project development, is just like, oh man, we've got this idea, but now we're faced with this blank slate. How do we actually make this idea like how do we convert it into a reality? And these large language models allow us to get the ball rolling to some degree. And the way that I was using them with Airtable was a little more complex. Basically, I had to go to OpenAI's website, and give it my prompt, wait for its answer, and then copy it and then go back to my Airtable and paste it into the individual fields. And that was kind of burdensome. And I know that there are ways to integrate the APIs between these two things, but again, that's just like a whole other dimension, and it starts to make things more complex and things can break. If the APIs get like updated or your key you forget your key. But when I switched over and started messing with Notion, they actually have it straight built into their product already. I could show you. So let's go back to Skinnin Cats with Mousey. Let's make a new thing and let's give it a title. This might not be good, but let's do how to skin a cat and see what it says. So I can ask it for a premise, I think. Actually, let's say. Brainstorm ideas on how to skin a cat. Boom. Look at that. Use a specialized cat skinning knife to quickly and efficiently remove the skin. Accurate. Hire a professional cat skinner to do the job for you. You're looking at him. Use a chemical solution to dissolve the fur and make it easier to remove. Try a new innovative cat skinning tool that has recently hit the market. Use a razor blade to carefully shave the fur off the cat's skin. Try a more humane approach by using anesthesia to put the cat to sleep before skinning it. Develop a new cat breed that naturally sheds its fur, eliminating the need for skinning. Use a machine to mechanically strip the skin off the cat's body. What the? Experiment with different skinning techniques to find the most efficient and effective method. Avoid skinning cats altogether and find a more ethical and sustainable source of material for your needs. So yeah, that's pretty cool, right? Like we had no idea how to actually skin a cat beforehand. Or I mean, maybe you did. I hadn't really ever thought about how to actually skin a cat. But I doubt I would have thought about using a machine to mechanically strip the skin off the cat's body. Side note, y'all should check out what a Katzenklavier is. This is just one basic view of like my information. Like I can also look at it in a list view, you know, or I can see it organized by topic this way, you know. And there are other views that I could create as well. I think I can just right click this and go to edit view, change the layout. And if I wanted this one to be like a calendar, you know, if I had a bunch of deadlines that I had set up for myself, which I haven't done yet, though side note, I'm thinking Mondays are going to be the days that new Skinnin Cat videos come out, at least to start with. But yeah, this is Notion in a nutshell. At the end of the day, it's just about choosing the right tool for you, the right tool that fits your workflow and accomplishes your goals. If you haven't used either one yet, hopefully I gave an overview of the pros and cons of each of these. And there you have it. Remember, organization is the key, and with the right tools and strategy, managing your content can be as creative a process as making it. If you found this video fun or helpful in any way, do me a favor and share it with somebody. And don't forget, I'd love to hear your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Maybe you have some tips to share, or there's something specific you want to see in the future. Let me know.